Good afternoon, everybody. My name is James Gleeson. I am a writer, illustrator, graphic designer, and also known as a cartoonist. Welcome to creating a single panel cartoon. This is the introductory lesson, and this one is for creating, once again, a single panel cartoon. So this video will pretty much tell you what you can expect out of this course. Who's this for? Well, it's a good question. And for anybody who's new to drawing, if you're a beginning cartoonist, this is all, I think you can also learn something from this. If you're a more advanced cartoonist, I actually do believe that you could learn something from this as well. And also for frustrated rocket scientists. So there's some good news for you, frustrated rocket scientists. Here's a couple of examples of single panel cartoons. So here you got Play-Doh in a canister of Play-Doh to keep himself fresh, and then you have a funny, I thought it was funny, a gag cartoon of Big Bird being part of a basketball team and always fouling out because he is considered a foul. Now, fortunately, since I've described these cartoons, they're no longer nearly as funny as they once were, and you can pretty much disregard their humorous quality because I've deconstructed them. So here's some examples of not single panel cartoons to them. Anyways, moving on. So the class objectives. By the end of this class, you will have created a one panel cartoon from an inspiration or idea to the finished product, and you'll have a process to create future cartoons. The objective of this class is to make people think, people laugh, have a portfolio piece or pieces, and of course you'll have a process for making future cartoons. So the single panel overview, character issues and concepts, learning to draw the hidden figure. First you'll try to figure out what the concept is of your cartoon. So whatever it is you're interested in life, you might want to consider that as one of the inspirations for your cartooning. Maybe you're a car enthusiast and you can think of a lot of great funny cartoons surrounding that. Therein a lot. We'll also talk some about, in this first chapter or first video, the drawing of the hidden figure. So we'll learn about your characters, what kind of characters you want. Will they be recurring characters? Will they be one and done characters? Like in the Far Side cartoons, for instance, there was an archetypes of different characters, and they would sometimes recur, but there'd be no hard and fast rule that he had to draw the same character twice. Whereas in like Family Circus, that cartoon, there were definite characters. So was Dennis the Menace. So number 5 is sketching your comic. That is, once you get that layout down, then you'll want to just refine it and get things going. And this video will basically be a demonstration of my technique for sketching out a comic and then making it more refined and filling things in. Okay, once we do that, we'll get to inking, and that is really refining your sketch, getting it like you won't be able to erase from here, but unless you work digitally. And then from there you'll color the comic. And let me tell you, when you're doing the background, which is a couple steps ago, one of the things you'll want to decide in addition to the background is kind of the palette you want to use. You don't want to deviate too much from the different palettes. When you think of a Peanuts cartoon, you'll immediately know what they are by the color palette that's often used. And the same can be said for a lot of cartoons. They'll have a similar color palette. Following that, and this is not necessarily recommended, this could almost be considered an optional part of the comic, and that is shades of depth. Because some comics don't even have backgrounds, but if you have a background in the background, you'll want to do that. And you might also want to add some shading to add some dimensionality to your characters, but it's not necessary. The primary goal of course, a cartoon is to deliver and communicate a message, and you don't want to do too much to obfuscate or mess with that. So then after that, move into lettering. Now, some people, you could just say, you could actually do the lettering at the very beginning when you're doing the concept, but although I've learned that over time and while I'm doing a cartoon, things change. I think about different ways of saying something. I think of the different situations, and so things can change. So you might want to hold off on the lettering until you've got the drawing down. Now, in my case for lettering, I use a separate program for that. So I'll just import my drawing into that program, create a thought or speech bubble or just the caption, and then put in my lettering there. But if you're going to be doing this with a sketch pad, you need to think a little bit longer and harder about where you want the bubble to be, and to make sure there's ample room for that bubble. So, or that speech balloon or whatever you call it, or thought balloon. Okay, after lettering is advanced concepts. Here's you'll create an overall arc and theme of your story, if there is a story. You may just write down different family interactions in a 21st century family, or different family reactions in a 21st century family, but it takes place in the in ancient Rome or something like that. And then there'll be other advanced concepts in lessons 10 on how to put your portfolio together and different next steps you can take now that you've completed your one panel cartoon or cartoons. And finally, there's the bonus of what's next, what you can hope to get. And these are just thoughts, final thoughts regarding what you might want to do once you've completed a number of cartoons, and maybe some different projects to go after, and go on from there. So there you go. That will be my my lesson plan over this course on how to create a single panel cartoon. Let's see here. And that pretty much does it. That's pretty much the end of it here.